So today is our day 3 of the demo series. So far in our first 2 days, we talked about what a business analyst is, what a BA does, at a very high level, what their roles, responsibilities are, and how do they function within the IT industry. Then along on those lines, we went ahead and tried to understand how this training program will help you gain the required knowledge so that it will equip you with performing your job responsibilities efficiently. Now, one other thing that we wanted to cover was how a business analyst is different from a data analyst. Also, how a business analyst differs from Scrum Master. As I indicated earlier, uh, so since I'm not feeling well, so my voice may be a bit hazy. In case if you require clarification on any point, let me know. Now the last point will be on what impact artificial intelligence can have on business analysts. So before we jump on to our topics, again a common message. In case if you are joining into this demo series for the first time, okay, we just wanted to notify you that all the running notes are being uploaded to Google Classroom. If you have access to Google Classroom, you can access these notes even in future as well. For your reference, if you don't have access to Google Classroom, you can just ping in on this number and we will share the link with you. Okay, so now going ahead. Now first point that we will take a look at is what's the difference between a BA and a Scrum Master. Okay, now why are we on first place trying to identify difference between two roles? Now people often get confused because somehow both business analyst and Scrum Master, they are non-coding roles. So they feel that if both are same or if they both are working on the same lines, then which one should we pick up? Okay. Similarly, a lot of organizations, not a lot, but the few organizations that are growing up in the last 10 years, they use business analyst and data analyst interchangeably. Okay. So when it's about business analyst, they are trying to say the same thing. When it's about data analyst, again they're trying to say the same thing, that both are doing the similar kind of work. That creates a confusion within our minds, that are we a BA, business analyst, or are we data analyst? Okay, so we will just explain in detail what these roles are exactly and whether they are same or different from business analyst, so that it will provide you further clarification in which direction to go forward. Now the first one is business analyst and Scrum Master. Now one thing is, there will definitely be some overlapping points or common points. For example, non-coding role. A Scrum Master is typically a non-coding and a non-technical role. A business analyst, on the other hand, though it's a non-coding role, but it's a technical job that you are doing. Okay? Remember, in the starting, we talked about The three key players who are involved in building a software are business analyst, developer, and QA, quality analyst, who are responsible for doing testing. Okay. Now, these three people will get the information from different sources. For example, business analyst will try to get information from the stakeholders to identify what their requirements are. But when it comes to building a software, BA, QA, and developer are three major technical people involved. Now, on the other hand, a Scrum Master is responsible for managing the team. Okay, a Scrum Master is a non-technical person. A Scrum Master, even if they don't know the coding, even if they don't have any technical knowledge at all, still, as long as they have good people management or managerial skills, they can survive or they can do their job efficiently. Now, the first point actually leads us to our second key difference. Okay, now that we know Scrum Master mainly looks for people management skills, a business analyst is not just about people management. Okay, a business analyst should have skills like stakeholder management, should have skills like good documentation work, okay, domain knowledge. Now that leads to our second question with respect to any job opportunity that we look for. What kind of job security does it provide? Okay. First of all, in the world of corporates, there's nothing like job security. Okay. It all depends on what value you can deliver to the company. If company feels that you can deliver a lot of value to us, your job is kind of secured. The day an organization starts feeling that there's no value being given by you, your job is in danger. Okay, apart from that, the external factors like COVID, recession, they can also impact your job. Now, in such instances, a job security is relatively less when it when you compare it with BA. Again, why? Because because of the non-technical nature of Scrum Master. Okay. When you work in service-based organizations like TCS, Infosys, Accenture, Cognizant, you pick up any service-based organization, what happens is the people who are doing technical work, okay, usually they have a more secure job. The people who are involved in non-technical, non-billable jobs, their job is at high risk. So whenever there is an external factor like a job or recession, so what will happen is they will try to eliminate these non-technical people first. So when COVID struck, so what happened is a lot of managerial positions were being eliminated, and existing or senior developers or senior BAs were given the task of leading or managing the team until things normalize. Okay. So when it comes to job security, you will obviously find a business analyst role being more safer and secure as compared to your Scrum Master role. Okay. Now, what kind of work will you be doing? What type of work will you be handling when you start working as a BA or a Scrum Master? Okay. So, like we said, a BA is majorly concerned about stakeholder management. Okay. So, who is my client? What kind of business are they running? What kind of software are they looking for? What is the nature of my client? Okay, and then accordingly you deal with them. Okay. Now, how do you identify the nature of client and then how do you deal with them is something that we'll be studying in detail during our training program on how to do stakeholder management. But in general, the broader concept is that you will be working upon stakeholder management because you will be talking to a lot of people. So obviously, you want to ensure that all your stakeholders don't feel left out in the process of building a software. Okay. Now, as a BA, you also demonstrate good documentation skills. Okay. A lot of time, whatever work we were doing, we wanted to ensure that it is properly documented. Okay. A good documentation does not mean that you have to create something fancy. Okay, a good documentation means that you have to build something that can be understood by a lot of people. Okay, so that if whether you are there or not, okay, as long as documentation is there, people can refer to it, people can understand about what the project was, what kind of work was carried out, what kind of business rules were written in order to build the software. If they can get all those details, that is more than enough. Okay. So as a BA, you are obviously responsible for maintaining proper documentations as well. Okay. Now you are responsible for providing direction to the team. Okay. How are you providing direction? By providing the requirements. Okay. If you don't provide the requirements as a business analyst, what is it that the team is going to work upon? Okay. So requirements are more like, suppose a bunch of friends want to go to a restaurant for dinner, and suppose if you help them decide which particular restaurant should we go for. Okay, so once you have decided the restaurant, now your friends can navigate their way and reach the restaurant, enjoy the dinner, and have a happy time. Okay, so that's the same thing with business analysts as well. Through their requirements, they are providing directions to the team on what kind of software we want to build. Okay, what should be the outcome from the software, what is expected from the software, how the software is going to be used by the customers and by my clients as well, so that team accordingly puts effort in those directions or in those lines, that okay, we have to build maybe a website for our client. The website will be used, let's say, internally. They are still not going to expose it to the external customers. And this website must be access controlled. So if senior leadership logs in, they should see more of a dashboard. If mid-level management logs in, they should see more of strategies. For lower management, maybe they should see more of rosters, who is assigned what kind of tasks. Okay. Now, another key aspect for a business analyst, along with providing documentation and direction, now direction would include every other thing as well. Okay, like user stories, acceptance criterias, detailed requirement documents as in BRD, FRD, or SRS, all those kind of stuff would be included in it. Okay. So let me write those down. Things like user story, requirement documents, and we will have requirement modeling as well. Okay. Now, when it comes to Scrum Master, what kind of work will they be responsible for? Okay. Now, they are responsible for providing an environment in which every member of the team can provide their best work. Okay, so suppose if I am doing coding, and if I am stuck at some place, I don't know, maybe I have written a code, and while testing the code I found a defect in it, but I am not getting idea on how to resolve that defect. Then my scrum master is responsible for providing me the uh, the appropriate resolution. Now, scrum master being a non-technical person, can he or she give me a resolution for a technical problem? Not directly, but they will help me connect with technical architects or technical leads, which who themselves can provide me a resolution. Okay, so a scrum master will not directly provide a resolution, but will help me connect with people so that I overcome my roadblocks or impediments. Okay. Similarly, if I am having difficult time connecting with testers or QAs, then Scrum Master is there to ensure that all the team members are talking to each other, all the team members are working with each other to ensure that work gets delivered. Okay. So, as a Scrum Master, maybe my primary responsibilities is to resolve impediments or roadblocks. Why am I doing it? To provide a more productive work environment to the team. Okay, a scrum master is not just working for one person in the team, but all the members of the team. So a scrum master has to ensure that all the members of the team are able to provide their best. Okay, so they have to ensure that, from time to time, take feedback from them on how things are moving forward. Are they facing any problems, issues? Now those problems or issues could also come through status updates as well. So take status updates from the team member on how they are progressing through their work. If they are facing any challenges while giving a status update, then what kind of feedback, like where exactly are they facing those challenges, how can we help them resolve those challenges. Okay. And then obviously along with it, you can call them reports, dashboards for senior management. Okay, how occupied my team is. If I have, let's say, as a scrum master, 10 members in my team, then out of those 10 members, how many members have work, how for how long do they have work. Okay, what's our work pipeline looks like, how efficient are my team members. Okay, how quickly can they finish up some work, how knowledgeable, how talented they are. So scrum master is responsible for preparing such reports or dashboards as well, which are basically representing my team's utilization and performance as well. Okay, so if you look at the work which scrum master is doing, it is, though it's a non coding, but it is nowhere technical work. So like asking team for a status updates, creating a work utilization or team utilization reports or dashboards or performance, ensure that the work is moving in the right direction. If there is any roadblocks or impediments, then work with the appropriate team member to get it resolved. So that's the third key difference when we go for any kind of job. what we must understand is, first, what's the nature of that job? Second, what's the job security looks like? Third, what kind of work are we going to do in that job? And the fourth point would be, let's say, growth perspective in the job. Okay. So what does a growth trajectory for a scrum master looks like? Okay, so maybe you are scrum master responsible for handling, let's say, one team. Maybe in future, if you gain more experience, you will be responsible for handling maybe more than one team. Eventually you may end up becoming an agile coach who is responsible for making sure that the various teams within organizations are aware of the agile concepts, how the agile things are evolved or adapted to over time. But please understand that these are all for awareness perspective. Now think of a day, and I'm not saying this day will come tomorrow only, or maybe in 5 years also, but think of a day where my team is aware of agile concepts, where my team knows what they have to do, where my team is able to manage their work on their own efficiently. In such instances, do we require a scrum master? Do we require an agile coach? Maybe we will require few, but we will not require in the current capacity. Suppose if we have one scrum master per team, maybe if my teams are self-managing, self-sufficient, demonstrating high levels of productivity, they are communicating with each other, they themselves know who my technical architect or technical leads are, and they can reach out to them for resolving their doubts, then maybe I don't need one scrum master per team. Maybe I can have one scrum master per 4 or 5 teams. Maybe I don't need a separate agile coach. My team is aware of all the details, so we may not require those many details. So the primary responsibility of a scrum master is to build self-managing teams. Okay, the day I have built a self-managing team, I'm no longer needed as scrum master. So that's a downside of it. So you are digging a graveyard for yourself. But anyways, growth perspective, maybe you can be a scrum master. Maybe from there you can move on to an agile coach. Maybe you can lead the agile practices for your entire organization in a more leadership oriented role. But what happens for a business analyst, like we discussed? So when it comes to growth trajectory, you may start as a BA, senior BA, or lead BA, but I let's assume that all of this is covered under business analyst. Okay. Right from being a junior to senior to a lead kind of BA. Okay. Now, whenever you look for any job, not just business analyst, in future, if you're looking for any kind of job, you have to evaluate it on these four aspects. Okay. Think about what kind of job it is. What's the nature of the job? Am I entering into a technical area or a non-technical area? Usually non-technical roles are more risky in terms of job security. Okay, because they are the ones that can be easily replaced with something else. The more technical nature of your job is, the more sophisticated it becomes, and the more difficult it is to replace with someone else. Okay? So, what kind of job role I am into? Second, the job security aspect. The third, what kind of work I am doing. If I decide to become a developer or a tester or anything tomorrow, I must know what they do. Then only I can make a conscious decision, should I go there or not. And the fourth aspect is growth. Okay? I cannot keep on doing the same work again and again every year for 10 years, 20 years. Okay? I must find some differences, some change in role, which can, give me that sense of accomplishment that I am doing something. So what kind of growth trajectory it offers? Maybe you don't accept the growth trajectory in the starting years, but at some point in time, maybe you'll be pushed towards that growth trajectory. So there must be a growth trajectory for you to pursue. If there's no growth, then probably, no salary hikes, no differentiated work, and at some point in time company may find you redundant. Now, before we move forward with difference between business analyst and data analyst, does anyone have any question here? Okay. I'll take the silence as no questions. So the next one is business analyst versus data analyst. So let me copy again. For a business analyst, these points will not change. So they'll pretty much be the same. Now what will change is for data analyst. So number one, is data analyst a non-coding role? Okay. So the answer is no. It is coding plus technical role. Okay. Now, what level of coding you know, to what extent you have to know, depends on two things. A data analyst is primarily working on technologies, or let's focus on their third point. Their primary work revolves around two key aspects. Okay. One is called data visualization, wherein they work on tools like Power BI or Tableau or other important ones, whatever the organization uses. Okay, so they use Power BI, Tableau, these data visualization tools to generate the appropriate reports, whatever the stakeholder is looking for. Okay. Now, along with this data visualization, they must be aware of SQL as well. Okay. SQL stands for Structured Query Language. Okay. Again, this is, you can assume, as a programming language that can help you interact with the tables. Okay. Usually, all the data or any and every kind of data will reside in some kind of tables, and you use SQL language to retrieve data, to store data, or do any kind of operation on data from the table. So you need SQL. Now obviously SQL will come with its own syntax. Okay. So you will have to learn about SQL, that what are the syntax associated with it, what's the different functions available within SQL, which function will have what kind of effect on my SQL statement. Then, like any programming language, you can build a solution, but then you have to also ensure that the solution is providing optimum results or efficient results. So writing an SQL which can give me a result in 5 minutes versus writing an SQL that can give me results in 1 minute, which one will be better? Okay, obviously the lesser time with same result set. So over, as time progresses, again, The expectation would be that you just don't know SQL, but I mean just don't know about SQL, but also about the optimization strategies as well. Okay. So data visualization is key, SQL is key, plus to an extent one other programming language, which could be Python, which could be Java, but something that can integrate well with your data visualization skills. Okay. There could be certain restrictions on Power BI or Tableau, or maybe you want some customizations which you feel these Power BI or Tableau are not offering. So maybe you will have to write up your own code to get around it. Okay. Now, if you have understood the kind of work that a data analyst does, you would obviously think that from a job security perspective, it is also on the relatively higher end. Okay. Nowadays, see earlier what used to happen, traditional software development, that your focus was on getting an activity done. Now, over time, people have realized, looking at Microsoft, looking at Facebook, looking at Google, that we just don't have to get the work done. By actually building up a software, we are getting lot of data. Okay. Suppose I build an e-commerce platform. It's not just that people are coming to my platform and buying things, but I'm getting lot of data. If I actually or properly use that data, I can create or if devise efficient strategies to increase my sales as well. I can do a better inventory management. Okay. I don't have to keep all the items in my warehouse every time. Suppose if I see a pattern that in state 1 people are mostly buying mobile phones, so I can keep more mobile phones in the warehouse for state 1. If I see in state 2 people are more dependent on apparels, clothes, in my warehouse I can keep more clothes there. According to the type of warehouse, I can hire or employ people over there. So I can utilize this data and accordingly create my business strategies. I can utilize the data to efficiently manage my inventory. I can utilize data to reduce even my delivery times as well. If out of 10 customer 9 customers are going to order a mobile phone and I have mobile phone in my warehouse, that means for those 9 customers I will always deliver it on time. Just for that one customer who is ordering other than mobile phone, maybe there will be a delay, but 90% of my customers will be happy. So that's where a lot of organizations are putting emphasis on building or utilizing data appropriately. So again, job security perspective, relatively higher sides. Okay. But again, a data analyst may interact to the client again through a BA only. A BA may be present in between who will talk to client to see what kind of reports are they looking for, how they want to utilize those kind of reports, and then accordingly pass on that information to data analyst that build this kind of report, build this kind of strategy for us. Okay. Now for a data analyst, the career growth trajectory, okay, and this is more of switching domain, that maybe you can start from a data analyst and get into more sophisticated domains like data engineering, data science related kind of stuff. Or maybe if you are more interested in going through the ranks, then maybe become a senior data analyst, become a data lead altogether, to be responsible for managing the entire data practices. Okay, any questions on any of these two topics, BA versus Scrum Master or BA versus Data Analyst? Sometimes, just before you ask question, sometimes when you apply for jobs, you may see a business analyst being the title, but if you look at the job description more closely, if it talks about things like data visualization, SQL, or any programming language around it, then think that it is not a BA role, business analyst, it is more of a data analyst role. Okay. A BA role will have job description which will state like requirement gathering, requirement elicitation, requirement prioritization, stakeholder management, okay, all the non-coding aspects, technical but non-coding aspects. So, any questions, guys, so far? Okay, are you guys able to follow along? Let me ask a different question.
Yes.
Okay, great. So then we will move on to our next topic, and that is how is AI or artificial intelligence, what kind of impact this AI can have, sorry, what kind of impact artificial intelligence can have on the work that is being done by a business analyst. Okay. Nowadays, we are mostly worried about how AI is going to impact my job or the job that I am doing. Okay. Now, the simple way to evaluate the impact is to assess the monotonous nature of your job. Okay. If your job is monotonous, if it follows same pattern everywhere, then you are probably at the risk of being easily replaced. Does that mean that that replacement will happen tomorrow, maybe in 1 year? Okay. Now, obviously, we are moving towards faster adoption of AI, but please understand that there are two different things. Okay. One is the faster adoption of AI, that is, people are talking about artificial intelligence. For example, we are discussing about AI in our demo series. So naturally there is faster adoption, but a faster adoption combined with proper outcome is what is needed. But right now artificial intelligence systems, they are dependent on data. Okay, obviously they are utilizing data to give us an outcome. Is that outcome reliable still? No. Okay. At least for enterprises, at least for big corporates, those outcomes are still not reliable enough. Okay. See, I am running a business. I may be earning in millions of dollars or billions of dollars. Okay. So that's a huge amount of money. That's not a small money. So when lot of money is at stake, I don't want to put that money on some system which is still not yielding proper outcome. So obviously I want a system that can give me more reliable, more trustworthy, more consistent outcome. Okay. So these three aspects are very important when it comes to talking about item. Okay. Reliable or trustworthy, and the consistency of the outcome. Okay. If you would have seen, A lot of people say that, I asked AI a very simple question and then it was confused, or maybe it has given me the right answer, but the moment I changed my question or maybe paraphrased my question, it got confused and it gave me a different answer. So that consistency is still lacking. See, as a human, if I ask you, how much time do you think you are going to take for, doing or requirement gathering? You may, looking at the scenario, tell to me that maybe I'll take 10 hours, Rahul. If I ask you tomorrow again the same question, you'll give me the same response. Okay? The scenario has not changed. But with AI, what has people observed is that the consistency is not there. If I paraphrase my question, if I simply ask the AI, like, are you sure that it is only going to take 10 hours? Then AI may backtrack to give a more defensive answer. Okay? So, any kind of system will definitely bring in revolution, but in order to bring in that revolution, there has to be two important things: adoption of that technology, and the technology must give proper outcome. Outcome is usually measured in terms of reliability, trustworthiness, and consistency. Okay. So, right now, AI systems are there for us to use, for us to feed data to the AI. That's one part. Adoption is there, but outcome is there. That is something still lacking. Now, how much time is it going to take to build a system that can give me proper outcome? Well, no one knows. Okay. Now, different people will give you different estimates. Some may say that this will not happen in our lifetime. Some may say that it's happening fast. Maybe in next 5 years, you will see more reliable, more trustworthy AI systems. Some are saying that maybe it will take 20 years. Some are saying, like I said, that it's not going to happen at least in our lifetime. Okay. Maybe in future, with next generation, maybe there could be chances of building more sophisticated systems. Now assume that I I belong to the category which says that AI systems are becoming smart, and maybe in next 5 years they can they can do more complicated tasks. Okay? Then obviously the question comes, can they take away my job? Okay? So which brings me to the first point that I raised. If you are in a monotonous job, okay, if you are in a job which follows a linear approach, which doesn't require a lot of skills, okay, maybe at this point you are happy that, I don't have a stressful job, I don't have to think much, it's a simple, easy to do job. Then maybe you are at risk of being replaced by, if not by another person, but by a system in the future. Okay. So if you have a very monotonous, a linear kind of job where you are not contributing that much, then I would say you are easily replaceable. Okay. But on the other hand, if you are involved in more sophisticated jobs, for example, I take business analyst being a more sophisticated job. How? See, a BA is not just responsible for looking at this, creating documents. Okay? A BA is also responsible for stakeholder management. Now, how efficient my AI system can become with respect to stakeholder management. Okay? How efficient my AI system can become to talk to a stakeholder, to extract information, to keep the project vision in line, and then ensure that you get the requirements, document those requirements. Okay? Now maybe I can give some input to the AI system in terms of what my requirements are, and ask for suggestion that are there any corrections, or put all this in the form of a nice document and give it to me. Okay? Now AI system is good at getting some data and providing some information as output. But again, how efficient can AI systems become in terms of requirement extraction or requirement gathering? How efficient can they become when it comes to requirement prioritization or requirement modeling activities? Okay. Again, I'm not sure, but I think as a BA, it's a more sophisticated job. It's a more customized or personalized job for every project that you are part of, that it is not something generalized. Generalized are only the roles and responsibilities. When you execute those roles and responsibilities on a project by project, there has to be some level of customization. Okay. So again, it's my assumption that business analyst jobs are not something that can be easily replaced. If you look at lot of artificial intelligence systems, maybe they are focusing on developing a system that can write down code for you. If you give them requirements and say that this is my requirement document, give me a code, they are focusing on building systems that can write down code for you. How reliable those codes are, that is again a question mark. But a lot of AI systems are focusing towards there. But still, for an enterprise to adopt AI, it has to follow this particular path. Once it follows this path, then comes the second aspect of it. What kind of work you are doing. Okay. Something that is monotonous and linear, easily replaceable. Something that is more sophisticated, customized with every project, like what a business analyst does, the more difficult it is to be replaced by any kind of system. Okay. Now, does that mean that artificial intelligence is our enemy and that we should not be using it? Now, I'm totally not against AI. What I always recommend to my students is, see, at the end of the day, we want to build better user stories. We want to write down better requirement documents. Okay. Now, don't let anything, your knowledge, be a barrier to it. Utilize AI. Okay. Suppose you want to communicate an idea, you want to communicate a difficult news to your stakeholder, that I will not be able to finish off my task tomorrow. And there is a reason why you can't finish off your task tomorrow. Okay. Maybe you are not feeling well, you will be out of office today and tomorrow, but you are a little hesitant that if I, you know, say this out loud, maybe my stakeholder will not feel comfortable. Okay. And you want to communicate it in a more formal, in a more sophisticated way. What do? Utilize AI for it. Okay. You give the situation to AI, this is the situation, and this is under this such situation, this is the communication I want. You give the exact outcome you are looking for, but you ask the AI for more formal conversations. Okay. So AI will give you outcome accordingly. If you like that outcome, copy, edit, paste that outcome into your emails. Okay. Similarly, if you have a scenario, a situation in front of you, and you think, you know, the way you are writing down requirements is not making sense, or maybe it is informal, you can again utilize AI to give you better statements. Okay. Now, one thing that I always recommend to students is utilize AI, but I'll add one statement over here, but with caution. Okay. It is always better to type your questions and not copy paste data. Okay. See, AI depends on the data you are feeding. So if you copy paste anything, there is always a risk of copying organizations confidential data. So you should always refrain from doing any copy paste while asking questions. Okay. You should always, as much as possible, type your question. When you are typing in question, you will consciously put in efforts to remove any confidential data. Okay. For example, rather than asking questions such as, I am ABC working for GHI client and facing situation so and so. Okay. Rather than providing all this personal confidential information, your focus should be on asking questions only. Even when you are typing in, you have to ensure refrain from sharing confidential information. Okay. As of now, the biggest concern over AI is how are they utilizing the data that we are sharing. So as much as possible, do not share any confidential data like who are you, which client are you working for, what kind of project are you working for. You can talk about a particular scenario to an AI, but don't share personal or confidential information. And the best way to avoid sharing this information is to ensure that you are always typing in your questions and not doing copy paste. Mostly when we do copy paste, we tend to make mistakes. When we are typing in something, we will always be conscious about what words are we typing. Okay. So utilize AI. It is definitely going to improve your productivity. It is definitely going to help do your job more efficiently, but with caution. Okay. So whenever you want to write down those nice formal emails, whenever you want to write down those articulative formal documents, use AI. You may be good in English, but give it a try. That help me write down a more formal statement for below scenario, and see how AI responds. Do you like the statements that you created or what AI created? But again, whatever AI gives you, don't just simply copy paste into your document. Okay. Copy pasting doesn't look good. So maybe you can be a little innovative. Take inspiration from the response AI has given, but don't completely copy paste. Inspiration as in just reorganize things a bit, change font, remove certain texts, add certain text, so that you give it a personal touch. At the end of the day, as a BA, you are working with a client. So there has to be some personal touch in your response. It cannot be a system generated response every time. Okay. So utilize AI. It is definitely going to improve or increase your productivity, but with a word of caution. Okay. I hope you guys will keep these points in mind whenever next time you ask in any kind of job what where exactly is AI heading. You will remember these points that we discussed today. If AI is going to replace my job, is it doable? Is it not doable? Okay. Ensure that you don't fall into the category of jobs which are monotonous, linear, they don't offer customizations, or they don't have any complexity involved. Then you are probably in the category of easily replaceable. Okay. So that will give you a good insight into what kind of job you are in. Similarly, if you ask me for BA is not doing some monotonous linear job. Every project asks for different customizations. Every change in stakeholder requires a change in my strategy. Some of my stakeholders could be easy to manage. Maybe I can crack jokes with them. But some of my stakeholders could be very strict. Some of my stakeholders could be, extremely controlling as well, that they want everything to go through them. So depending on my stakeholder, I have to change my strategy. Can I say one size fit all strategy? No. So BA is not someone easily replaceable. Does that mean what, where does that leave AI? Okay. Utilize AI for improving or boosting your productivity, but always with caution. Now, any questions that you have? Okay, I'll take the silence as no questions. So I'll end the class with one small thing. So Harsha Trainings has launched free soft skills training. So about the soft skills, now we all know that how important it is to get a job. Okay, and then there are certain criterias to get a job. For example, you have to go through maybe a group discussion, maybe an, if not group discussion, at least the interview process will be there. And what does the interviewer evaluate in the candidate? One, obviously the knowledge, the kind of knowledge you possess with respect to the, with respect to the job we are talking about. Second, how are you able to present that knowledge? See, presentation matters a lot. Now, if you are able to present your ideas in a more efficient way, in a way that can be understood by the people, you will definitely have great chances of being selected. Suppose you are knowledgeable but not able to communicate your idea, it will be a problem. There will be some problem in getting the job. Okay, so it is very important not just to have knowledge, but to also ensure that I have appropriate communication skills to be able to communicate that knowledge in order to better present myself. So with that in mind, we are we at Harsha Trainings are conducting soft skill classes to help students improve their communication skills, to teach them to aspects like how to present them in the interview. Okay, so which will definitely boost your chances of being selected during the interview. Okay, now if you want to know more about these free soft skill classes, again I'll redirect you to the same number. Okay, if you are asking for a Google Classroom link, okay, why don't you ask for the free soft skill classes as well? Okay, inquire about more details, and there's no harm in opting for a soft skill classes if it is free. Okay, so do inquire about the soft skill classes as well. These will greatly boost your chances whenever you appear for any interviews. Okay, thank you everyone. On that note, we will conclude our day 3 of the demo. Thank you so much for your time.